Hey all, we're going to take a look at exercise 82. And this one can be tricky because we practiced this chapter with working with letters in our base, and now all of a sudden they say, well, the same rule applies when we use numbers in the base. And the advantage is that if I have numbers there, then I can get a definite answer. So I get an answer that is a number instead of just letters. The negative side is that sometimes this complicates things a bit more. Because, for example, here, if you want to calculate this, please don't calculate 3 to the 6th power and then do it times the calculated version of 3 to the power of minus 5, because this is a very big number. This is a very small number. Then I get I think some sort of fraction which I don't like, and then I have to simplify that fraction. No, instead use the rules that we know for calculating with powers and calculating with exponents. Here I have the same base, right? My base at both of those things is 3. I want to do that in red. Let's still do that in red. 3 and 3. So that means that that's actually a bit like this question. And in this case, I would find, yeah, if that base is the same, I could do this right. Oh, but now I have a negative number there. 6 plus minus 5. Yeah, that's just 6 minus 5. So that's just x to the power of 1 gives me x. The same applies here. What I'm doing right now is saying, well, this is the same as 3. And then do 6. And you can write down plus minus, or just in one go minus 5. That's 3 to the first power, right? What's 3 to the first power? That's just the number itself, 3. Okay, let's try again. Here I have two numbers with the same base. So here I can say if they have exponents like this, that's the same as saying that 6. And then in the exponent part, 3 plus minus 4. So I write down 3 minus 4. Here I find 6 to the power of negative 1. And then we have to remember that's the same as saying 1 divided by 6 to the positive exponent of this, right? But 6 to the first power is just 1 over 6. Next one, a common mistake what you can do here is first do 5 times this, but remember you first have to evaluate powers. So here I find 5 times, just copy the first part, 2 to the 3rd power to the power of minus 2. Remember what happens when we have powers to our powers, we multiply the exponents. So here my exponents becomes 2, the 2 stays the same. And then 3 times minus 2. So 5 times 2 to the power of negative 6. What is this number exactly? Well, that's the same as 5 times 2 to the power of minus 6 is the same as 1 divided by 2 to the power of 6. And now I can move this 5 in the numerator. I get 5 divided by 2 to the 6th power. Do you know that one mentally already? I think you should know what 2 squared is right now, and you should know what 2 to the 3rd power is already. But some of you have already practiced this a lot and see that 2 to the 6th power is actually 64. Otherwise you have to calculate that, right? And this is your final answer, because they don't have a common factor, so I cannot make this one smaller. Why does this 5 now go into the denominator? You could write this down as an intermediate step if you want to. I change 5 to 5 over 1 times 1 divided by 64. And then I get numerator times numerator is 5, and denominator times denominator is 64. And this is your final answer, because you cannot simplify this any further. Okay? Good luck. If you have questions, feel free to ask them during the lesson, because there are certainly a few questions here and there which can be tricky, I think, which can pose some small problems. Not because they are very difficult, but because there are a lot of situations which you just have not practiced yet. And I think that's great, because that leaves you in a situation where you have to find out if you really fully understand how to correctly use the knowledge that's given to you. But I also want you to, if you find this very difficult, to not be demotivated, and feel free to, in that case, ask me it in the lesson how you should solve it, right? Because there are just a few tricky exercises here and there for the last few exercises. Good luck.